Welcome to our assignment weights and groups in Canvas training. This is a special topic throughout our gradebook series week. So all week we'll be talking about the gradebook. This is just one of the very first things, part one, step one of what you need to do to set up your gradebook. So we're going to go ahead and get started. I did have a poll running that I'm going to go ahead and end now. And we have a myriad of people in here today. That is awesome. We welcome everyone to this training. My name is Isabel Lizalde, and I'll be walking you through this presentation today. So as an overview, I mentioned that this is part of the gradebook series that we're going to be offering this week. What we're going to be able to do today is kind of talk through how to set up a gradebook in Canvas. It's a little different from what we're used to within using a gradebook from eCampus, if you're familiar with that. So I'll try to highlight those points as I can get through, because there are some significant differences. As an overview, we do recommend to have attended some of our other training just to kind of get you oriented to Canvas. But for the most part, we're going to go straight into setting up a gradebook today. A little bit of housekeeping. We don't have very many people in this training today. So if you have a question, we will hopefully have some time for question and answer at the very end. You can write down your question in the chat and I can kind of go through them one by one. But we're also taking in a way for us to kind of get a frequently asked questions log together. And we'll make sure that if we don't answer your questions today, we can answer your questions during office hours. And we're also going to have a chance to answer your questions during our Friday session, which is like our frequently asked questions section too. So come back to that section if you have a question that you're going to ask today during our session. So first things first, I will be navigating between this presentation to kind of walk you through some things. And then I'm also going to be using Canvas to demonstrate some things for you. You're welcome to, if you have the ability, to use Canvas side by side with me together today. You can log into Canvas. Our favorite way to log in is by going to LMS.TAMU.EDU, clicking the login button on the top right-hand side, and then logging in with your TAMU net ID and password. I've already logged in to Canvas, but I want just to quickly show you this website just because of something we're doing brand new that you may have seen since you're in this training today. But please tell your friends, your family, your colleagues, whoever wants to learn about Canvas, about this new way we're doing our training. On our training and support tab, if you click on that, we're going to start doing what we're calling our series week. So the entire week will be dedicated to a topic. This week, we are focused on the gradebook. So come back every week as you can to see more information about the different series we're going to have for the next coming month. We also are changing the way we do our videos. So a video recording of this training will be posted on our website here, as well as some other shorter videos that you may use for yourself or send off to people too. So that's just something I wanted to make sure everyone knew about before we get started. But training outcomes, three discrete training outcomes we hope for you all to do today. We hope you're able to create assignment groups, set up assignment group weights and rules if applicable, and then set a course grading scheme. These three things together are some of the first things you're going to probably do in your Canvas course. Semester to semester, you do it every single time you're creating that course. But it's a little different from what we're used to from Blackboard, so we'll go into that together today. But the way that Canvas uses the gradebook is a little different than what we're used to, as you do all of your setting up of your gradebook in the assignment section of your course. You don't do it from the gradebook section, you do it from your assignment section. This is where you're going to set any weights. So if you use a course grading policy with percentages like exams are 20%, assignments are 30%, so on and so forth like that, you may want to use the assignment section of this. So let's go into that right now. So setting up assignment groups, between now and I'll be switching between now and this presentation. So let's go into our Canvas course to get right into it. So I did mention that you do have to do this from the assignments section of your course. The way to get to that is within your course itself that you want to set up your gradebook for, you're going to want to click on the Assignments tab. So once I get to the Assignments area from this course, by default in the template that we have provided everyone, there are already some assignment groups there, but think of your assignment groups as a category, right? The category that you have in your syllabus, like the exams, like projects, if you use that weighted percentage category, that's what the assignment group is going to be equivalent for. You want to create these discrete groups that have each of the weight. So for example, in my course, I have exams, I have a research project group, I have discussions, assignments, quizzes, and homework, right? That's what I have in my course that I have here. You can create new ones. So if there's something that you have in your course that's very specific to your subject matter that wasn't already included in our template, you can create a brand new group. And the way you would do that is you would click on this plus group button right here on the top right-hand side. I remember to do this. Okay, you can click on the plus group, and there you can add a brand new group. So let's say one of the groups that you typically have in your course is participation. You grade participation, or you have a special research project, or you just have a specific type of assignment group you need to do. You can add that group name, and then when you're done, click Save. You would create one group for each category. So you would make sure you had all your categories up there. So you would need to do that as many times as you needed to create all those different groups, those groupings and categories together. After you have done that, you more than likely would already have assignments at this point. But let's say they're in a wrong group. By default, all assignments are going to go into an assignment group category. So you might need to move them around a little bit to kind of make sure that they're the correct area. The way that you would move them around is you can either click and drag. So let's find one that I need to move around. Let's say this one. This one I need to move around to a different area. I can click and drag and move it to the correct assignment group area. Another thing I can do is I can also click on the right-hand side of this assignment. There's these 3 vertical dots. Click on that, click Move To, and then I can select the correct assignment group that I need to move this to, and then go ahead and move it. So you'd want to organize your groups, organize your assignments. You can keep on building assignments here. You can add the assignments to the specific group here if you needed to. All of that can happen from this assignments index page, which is what's this called, to create your groupings, to create your organization for your gradebook. That is the first two big major things you'll do: creating the groups and creating and modifying the assignments to where they need to go. After you've done all that, then you can actually start adding the weights. You can tell Canvas, I want you to automatically calculate a certain weight for each group. The way you're going to do that is you're going to click on these 3 dots on the right-hand side next to plus assignment. From there, you're going to click Assignment Groups Weight. And here I get the option to weight my final grade based on assignment groups. If you use the percentages, like I mentioned, like those a weighted total, this is what you would do. If you do not use a weighted total, so if you just have a straight points, so out of 1,000 points, out of 900 points, whatever it is you use, you will not use this. So that's just something to keep in mind, depending on your own schedule, on your own policies there. But from here, I'm going to go ahead and click on this to see what happens. And now I have the ability to add the weights per group. So I can then say my exams are 20, my research project is 10, discussion is 5, 20, whatever it is I needed to do for my individual class. Okay, there you go. I can do all of this in my weights, and then at the very bottom, I'll be able to see the totals adding up to 100%. So after I've added all this, if I do not see my category here that I need to reflect kind of what my grading policy is in my course, it's because I haven't added that group. So you'll need to add that group, and then it will show up in this screen here. Once you have done all this, you can click on Save, and it saves for you, and there you go. Now I'm able to see a very clear way of finding all of the different weights for my individual assignment groups. After I've done this, another thing you can do on top of this is you can also apply rules. Rules for the individual assignment groups are kind of similar to what you're used to in Blackboard eCampus, where you drop the lowest grade, the lowest 2 grades, or you have the average grade, or whatever it is you needed to do for those rules for his individual assignment group, you can do in Canvas too. So for example, a very common one that I see is drop the lowest quiz grade or lowest 2 quiz grades. I already have rules set here in this quiz area, but for me to modify this, I can click find the assignment group itself. So this is the assignment group I want to drop the lowest 2 quizzes from. Click the 3 vertical dots on the right-hand side and click on Edit. Here, I get to now modify the individual assignment group a little bit further. I'm going to remove all this to pretend like I haven't touched it yet. But this is what it's going to look like for you if this is your first time seeing it. You can choose how many scores to ignore for each student, right? So if you want to drop the lowest 2 scores, you're going to drop the lowest 2. If you wanted to drop the highest scores, you can drop the highest 2. So maybe you want the average, right? You want to skew that a little bit. You can do that here. I'm not going to do that for my students. But then you can also have the option to select an assignment never to drop. So even if that assignment would fall into those rules, it won't drop it. For example, maybe there's a syllabus quiz that you want to make sure never gets dropped because that's the most important to you, or maybe a review quiz or whatever that quiz grade would be, or the assignment that you want to make sure never gets dropped, even if it's the lowest grade, you would assign that here by click plus add an assignment. From this drop-down menu that appears, you would select the drop-down of the quizzes that you currently have in your course. If they do not show up in this list, it's because you haven't created the quiz yet. You would then have the chance to go into your course, create the quiz, and then you can find it show up back here. I'm going to select that quiz because it's my first one, and then I can click on Save. Then you're able to very easily see these rules show up right here. As a best practice within this very specific, the rules themselves is the quizzes won't start dropping until you've met the minimum amount of rules of whatever you put in there. So for example, if I have dropped the lowest 2 scores, the quiz grades won't start dropping in my gradebook until quiz 3 happens. But since I also have the never drop quiz limits as functions, and that's another part of it, I only have 2 quizzes on my course, it won't start dropping until I've reached quiz 4. So that's just something to keep in mind right now. Then we're in the midterm area. You may not have all your quizzes yet, so start looking at that too when you're looking into your rules and when the quizzes are going to start dropping. But those are the rules. You can set those rules to each and every one of the assignment groups as you see fit or would like. You can make modifications to the weights again by going to the 3 vertical dots and then clicking assignment groups weight. Just to check to see if the calculations are working out or if you are able to see them, you can go to your gradebook. So go to grades now from the course navigation. And from the grades area, you can go ahead and look for that total column. Typically at the very end, there you go. There's a total column, and I can see that it's actually starting to calculate my grades for my students as I've started inputting these grades. Another really cool thing that happens automatically by Canvas is as you add those assignment weights, Canvas automatically creates a total for those individual columns. For example, I'll see a column that's showing me just that exam grade, just that research project assignment group grade, so on and so forth. So I can see all of those here before I see that total column. We're not going to get into this part of the gradebook, but I just wanted to show you that it's automatically calculating everything for me right now as I've put in those weights. So if I scroll on over, the last thing I want to share with you, let's go back to our presentation to make sure I captured what I needed to there. We talked about the assignment groups. As a refresher, assignment groups are going to be those categories that you include in your syllabus. So whatever you have in your syllabus, you're going to create an assignment group for. We talked about how to create assignment groups. The way you do that is from the assignment page, you're going to click plus group. We talked about the assignment groups weight. From the assignments page, you click the triple dot on the right-hand side and then click assignment groups weight. And we talked about roles, where you go into the individual assignment group and then click on edit so that you can see any rules for dropping scores. The last part of today's training, we're going to talk about a grading scheme. This is another very important part of setting up your gradebook from the very beginning the correct way. What you're going to do is you can actually assign in Canvas a final course grading scheme that stays up to date wherever you need it to be. So what we're going to do now is go into that. And the way to find it is I'm going to go back to my Canvas course. And you're not going to find it from your grade book. It's in a different area altogether. That's why these two parts are different from the rest of the training we're giving this week. Is you're now going to go to find your course grading scheme by going into your course settings. To do this, you're going to click on the 3 horizontal lines next to the name of your course. So right there. After you click on that, you get that menu, that course navigation menu to pop back out for you. And then you're going to click on settings. Now, from your course settings under the course details page, what you're going to do is scroll down and you're going to look for an option that says enable course grading scheme. What this means is you're going to be able to click on it, and then now you've enabled your course grading scheme, and then you're going to set grading scheme. By default, Canvas has included one that's automatically included for you to use. It has A-minuses and B-pluses. A&M does not utilize that grading scheme, and we completely understand. You can modify this to be more reflective of your own course grading policy. And the way you do that is you're going to click on Manage Grading Schemes on the bottom right here. And then you can always add a new grading scheme by clicking the plus add grading scheme. And by default, it does have all these other ones. So what you can do is you can delete the ones you don't need. So I don't need an A-, I delete it on the right-hand side. Don't have a B+, I don't have B-, C+, C-, D+, D-. I don't have any of those. From there, I can then modify the individual grades there. So 90. I use the basic standard one. I don't get fancy with this. And then final course grade. Give it a name so I can know which one I'm using, and then go ahead and click on save. Then what I can do is I can click on this pencil icon, make any changes as I needed to, delete any that I don't want. So I'm going to delete this one. Let's delete this one, and that's the only course grading scheme that I need. Now I'm going to go back into my settings. Make sure I click that enable course grading scheme, set the grading scheme. And now I can select another grading scheme at this point and make sure I select the one that I just created. Make sure that I select the use this grading standard, and then I hit done. After I've done that, make sure then, because it's a little bit different from what we're used to in Canvas where it says save or update, you make sure you update those course details. And now what's going to happen is if I go back to my grades, and I look for that total column at the very end of my course, I see that A, B, B, F showing up right here, right? So that's what you're able to see. As a refresher, what we just did, we went to settings. We enabled the course grading scheme. We viewed the grading scheme. My preference is for you to manage grading schemes just because it's a little bit easier to manage the grading schemes at a full view versus this little tiny box view. So if you click Manage Grading Schemes, you'd create your grading scheme, either modify the one that's existing or create a brand new one. Go back into your settings and then make sure you select it by clicking the Select Another Scheme. And then you can select the one that you have and then select Use This Grading Standard. hit done, and then update. That is how you would set the final score. And that is all we have. That is our setting grading scheme. We went through that. But we do have 10 minutes left, so I am going to give you all a chance to do a little bit of work. So what I'm going to do now is that is the completion of our training today. I will stop the recording now. Thank you for taking time to watch this video.
To learn more, please visit LMS.TAMU.EDU or email us at aihelp@TAMU.EDU. Thank you.